let's hit record whenever you're ready.
All right, hold on. Let me go back to my thing. All right, you ready?
Yes, I think we are good to go. Wait, one. Hold on. Actually, make sure. Yeah, make sure this thing is getting your picture. Do. I think that should come
Yeah.
back in a second. All right. Yeah. 1, 2, 3. Lego. Boom.
IG.
Mm, 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 mm. All right. What's up, partner? How you doing?
What's up, man? I'm all right, man. I think the last time we chatted and got up here, we were kind of like rounding third in terms of work obligations and stuff. And if I'm not correct, I think both of us are now in the land of vacation. Is that correct, sir?
That is correct. That is absolutely correct. As a matter of fact, however, before we get too far, I've realized that I've neglected to arm the track that would enable your recording. So if we can just let's just call that take one, and yeah, let's just one more time. It
All right,
was
hold on. Let me
lovely.
get the other one. Hold on.
Yeah.
Let me get out the other thing.
Yep.
Hold
No worry. Just realized I was like, I'm recording you, lovely, and I'm not recording. Actually, I'm recording me, but I wasn't recording you, which I could have figured out at the end, but then I would have known where to match you.
on. Oh, man,
You see what I'm saying? These are the things that people really want to know about the podcast. I'm sure. Like these are the things that
dude,
really
they're sitting around
they're
going,
just
I
going
need
like,
to know
how the
about this.
hell does that work?
How does that work? How's it been
Yes.
going? How do they do it? How do they
Yes.
do
How do they
it?
make it happen? You too can have a podcast. That's right. All you have to do is invest a couple of hours a week, and you can
Yeah,
become a podcast millionaire as well. That's
absolutely.
right.
Pod gods, baby. Pod gods. All right, I'm ready when you
All
are.
right, there we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hit it. Boom. And here comes the music again. It's lovely. It's good music. It's good for you.
Absolute good music, man. Good for your soul.
It's not gonna hurt you to hear it again. Uh, uh, uh. And you heard him say, yeah, yeah. You heard him say he got a Jesus. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking about Kanye. That's right. Heard him
Okay.
say. You heard him say he got Jesus now. That's right. Okay.
That's
Anyway, what's up,
that's what
brother?
he's doing, man. What's up, man? Take two on this beautiful Monday
Yes.
afternoon, the eve before Christmas Eve. How you
Wow.
doing over there, man?
I'm fantastic, man. I'm really good. I love not being at work. Not being at work is really really good. Uh,
Hell, hell yeah.
Also, this is the first time. To be honest with you, it's kind of a weird thing. I don't know if any of our listeners can relate to this, but
Can
a lot of times when I'm on vacation, I get more nervous. I get like more anxious because I have that thing built into some black people, and some of our listeners can relate, that when I'm not at the job in the office, I'm constantly thinking that they're firing me. Like I constantly feel like anytime I'm not actually physically producing effect for the company, that they are like having a secret meeting, like that nigga Nyaze been
Yeah,
slacking up. You
we
can
call
tell.
that corporate PTSD, sir. It's a
Amen.
thing to where, especially people, I think overall in corporate America, we're always concerned about our position in the or in the organization when
Yes.
we're there, and especially when we're not there, to see how the pieces are moving. So it makes sense, especially if you are a person of color. You are
Amen.
definitely always concerned about your position in the organization. So this level of anxieties, I think, is acceptable, but very curable with sativa and other things.
Oh, that's a good you mentioned that. That's actually a perfect prompt. I will inhale it while you explain to the fine people what we are going to do today.
Absolutely. Well, today we are going to keep a central focus in the culture. There is only one particular movie, one particular franchise in which just needs its own particular segment, its own episode in which to breathe, and that is Rise of Skywalker, the last in the Skywalker legacy, the last movie supposedly to wrap up all of the Star Wars lore that we have lived with since like 1977. So this episode, we're just going to dedicate strictly to our likes, our dislikes, the whole thing like that. I've got my hoodie on. episode 84. If you are a Star Wars head, or if you're not, I think you'll enjoy the podcast. And if you don't, you're going to enjoy this podcast. So before
Yeah, you
we
go.
jump into all of that good stuff, sir, you all good over there? Everything is love with you?
Everything is lovely. In fact, let me just go ahead and tune these lights exactly the way I want them tuned, and let's talk about some Star Wars because I just saw it. I've got a lot of thoughts. I have a whole lot of feelings about the end of a nine movie.
Nine movies. You and I have invested like
It's a lot.
basically 30 years worth of,
It's a lot of movies.
time into this whole franchise. I mean, again, I always say it. I've been watching this since I was like 9 or 10 years old.
Yeah.
I have not missed a Star Wars premiere since that time period. And I mean, no matter where I've lived, from Charlotte to Atlanta to Alabama for a time period, if there was a latest Star Wars that was out, I was going to see it. This particular year was no different. Me and the gentleman went to go see it in the movies the other day,
Yes.
and I have a variety of thoughts on this. I've got likes and dislikes, man.
Well, let's
I'm
just
gonna
get the
go. You know what?
overall.
Let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go ahead and set the table
All
for us.
right,
Let's go.
cool. Well, let's just say, I want to let's say something positive first. First of all, I did weep no less than 5 times. Like, every bit of fan service, I was ready. I was there. I got a spoon. I had my teacup. I was ready to sip it. I was ready to gulp it. I was ready to get it in.
I
So
enjoyed the fan service myself.
the fan service was exquisite. I mean, they knew exactly all of the emotional connections that had to be checked off. You know, with Kylo and his father, with Leia and Ben, and even bringing back gender neutral black forebear Billy D. Williams.
Gender fluid.
Sorry, gender fluid. Sci-fi Afrofuture sci-fi icon Billy D. Williams. No, they really did everything they could possibly do to like tie it all up and make you feel like, okay, none of the characters got short shrift, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, everything outside of the fan service, everything that I might otherwise, sort of constitute as a movie, I had to say, for a movie about space knights with telekinetic powers and laser swords, I felt like nothing happened. like nothing. No, it felt like the opposite of magic. Like, it just felt like, yes, these are the rules of Jedi. Oh, I'm sorry. There's just one new twist. You're a dyad. I don't know what the fuck that is, but that means you can teleport shit. Okay, that's. I've seen teleportation before, so this isn't blowing my fucking mind. I was just watching Doctor Strange, and he turned the whole universe into a mirror, and then fractured that shit, and then fought like, you know what I mean? Like, we've seen
done before.
We've
It's
seen
been done before.
amazing things, and it's just
Right.
really strange that Star Wars, this magical sci-fi setting with no rules, is like the most tame and most puritanical. It was really dry, super dry.
I cannot disagree with anything you laid out in terms of your initial take. My initial take is pretty much in the same ballpark. I was looking for something that would tie it all together. I was looking for a certain level of fan service, which we did receive, but I was also looking for them to take what was left on the table with The Last Jedi and tie it all together and give me not only a great story, but a great conclusion to an epic saga.
Yes.
And the conclusion I got to the saga was, to use your words, extremely underwhelming, extremely convoluted, and just damn right criminal how much of an opportunity that they missed out on to really close this out with a bang. I was disappointed and this, I can get in, this is probably going to dive more into my dislikes. I was disappointed at the way Palpatine went out overall for such a very powerful character. Let's remind the people, Palpatine smacked up Yoda. He smacked up Mace Windu. Within 2 to 3 seconds of drawing out his lightsaber, he had already dusted off 2 or 3 Jedi Knights before he even got to Mace Windu.
Yeah.
So I say that to say this: we're talking about one of the most powerful Sith Lords in the galaxy.
That's right.
And
the most powerful.
Yeah, the most powerful one in the galaxy. And you let him go out with the Force lightning being reversed back to him, kind of almost similar to how he went out in Revenge of the Jedi, except as opposed to him being lifted off of his feet and thrown into a reactor shaft, it just kind of got reflected back to him, but pretty much going out in a similar fashion. That was criminal. It was also criminal that they did not, and I'm going to tell you word on the street is that this scene exists, they did not allow the Emperor to use his lightsaber. What the hell is going on?
First of all, shout out to Stephanie who's on the live. No, I did not like the space magic. What up, fam? Good to see you. But no, the space magic was doo-doo.
It just wasn't a well put together film at all.
Yes, and like that. And let's talk about why it wasn't a well put together. It's like you went to. It's like you had the 1995 Olympic basketball team. Right.
The G's, the OGs, the unstoppable machine.
The unstoppable machine went to the Olympics to see them play, and they lost every game. That's what the level of failure that we're talking about, because we're talking about a movie franchise whose basic premise, like the premise that everyone knows is, it's magical knights with laser swords. It's space knights with laser swords. And they got magic telekinetic powers. Like, if that's the entry level that you going into a movie, like, it's supposed to be some extra crazy shit happening. Again,
it should have been beyond anything.
It should break your mind. What I feel like went wrong with this, because to compare it to another Disney enterprise, Marvel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and let me be plain, because we both church boys, so this is what I'm drawing as my basis for comparison. I compare everything to church.
And I know where you're going with this.
I compare everything to church, man. Everything I compare to, in terms of capitalism, the ultimate capitalism is church. You selling nothing
and getting all kinds of
tax-free money, no taxes. The ultimate in capitalism. You know what I'm saying? So when I go to these Marvel movies, I'm aware that they're manipulating my emotions. I'm aware how the music is intersecting with the light and all this shit. Very cathedral-like experiences. And I'm aware I'm being manipulated emotionally, but I don't mind it because I'm being shown something impossible. I'm being shown something I've never seen before. Star Wars comes from the same temple as Marvel. And yet when I'm watching the Star Wars films, instead of feeling this sense of like breathless wonder and like anything can happen any minute, what I'm feeling like is, in T-minus 5 seconds, they're going to have to make a reference to the Kessel Run, or now we've got to... Nothing
is original.
Nothing.
See, here's the thing about it, too, and here's why it started that way. And it's convoluted because when it started, they started with kind of a theme of anyone could be force sensitive. Right now, that was kind of a little bit of a different twist. Like, we come from the era of the original trilogies as well as the prequels, to where a specific family only had it or whatever. Hold on a second, Corey's calling.
Corey,
hey, beautiful, you ready?
Oh, actual Corey, got you.
All right, we're coming.
That's the fam.
What are you saying, Smitty?
Ooh, this is behind the scenes, yo. This is a real.
What are you saying, Smitty? Yeah. Here. Hey, could you hand this to Mom real quick, please? Okay, I'm sorry about that.
No worries. Behind the scenes at the Billups household. That's what's up.
Okay, they started it off kind of cool. Like with Force Awakens, you had the opportunity to see kind of a different angle, meaning someone who was force sensitive that wasn't part of a Skywalker legacy or anything like that. Yeah. That's why they kept saying she's nobody. I thought that was a good angle, and it wasn't a bad start. Okay, Force Awakens more so rehashed a lot of New Hope, but I feel like they started it off kind of great. But then, in the end, when it all came down to it, she wasn't a nobody. She was
she's like, right, she's the most important bitch in the universe. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, yes, I didn't like that. Okay. Let me
That's
be.
where it's
I gotta confront some hypocrisy on this because on one hand, we know that Star Wars wasn't like this planned out universe where they knew where everything was gonna go. Uh, we got the incest scenes of Leia and Luke kissing in number one. You know what I'm saying? Before they figured that shit out, and then they figured out like, no, okay, they're gonna be brother and sister. Okay, we went with that. We rolled with it. Then it was like we knew that Darth Vader wasn't actually supposed to be Luke Vader's father, Luke Skywalker's father either. They made that shit up in the second one. Then it was like, okay, that's crazy, but that's dope. Like it was all new. They were making shit up, playing jazz, and it made sense why it felt like you were always being caught off guard because they were like, fuck it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if he was his dad or what if this was this? Anyway, my point being is with this shit now, the whole thing, it feels like they took the two movies and they spent the third one dismantling everything that happened in the first two movies, which I feel like is like I'm being a hypocrite because I'm like, on one hand, I love the movies that did that to begin with, because it surprised me and I didn't know where they were going. But now to see it again, to see them just like, no, Rey is supposed to be nobody. She looked she not only, and I saw them try to clean it up with Kylo, where Kylo was like, I told you the truth. They were nobody. They chose to be nobody. No, bitch. She looked into the dark Sith mirror. She looked into the infinite void, and the infinite void said, your parents ain't nobody. Right. And if it doesn't mean anything, what the fuck does it mean? You know what I'm saying?
The movies don't fit.
Yes.
They're puzzle pieces that don't connect.
They don't connect, and I felt like that robbed it of a ton of momentum. Emperor Snoke, I'm still a little bit
a waste of time. See, and now I do understand Rian Johnson's attitude around it. He always kept saying whenever he was asked about Snoke's origins, well, it doesn't matter. He doesn't matter. He's just a vulnerable character. And because he knew the overall plot was that he was basically a clone and a pawn for Palpatine, so he's correct. There was no backstory needed because he didn't matter.
That's right. That's right.
But he didn't have to be an asshole about it. That's all I'm saying.
That's right. And then so to switch the villain gravity from Snoke so abruptly, to do the sleight of hand, they sort of pump fake towards Kylo Ren being the big bad, but then you kind of always sense he's not really the villain. He's making a decision. He's the Darth Vader of this shit, so he has to make a choice. And then pivoting to Palpatine at the end, it felt cheap as fuck to me. I was like, I do not care about Palpatine anymore. I barely cared about Palpatine when he was corrupting Darth Vader in the prequels. You know what I'm saying? Like
until the third one, until Revenge of the Sith came out, then I cared a lot. That lightsaber battle was life. That's when I became a Palpatine fan. I was like, this guy's dope.
Fair enough. When he
kicked Yoda's ass, I was like, this guy is dope.
Fair enough. That's fair. When you saw how physical a character he could be, then it was like, oh shit, okay, that's kind of interesting. But I guess my point being is that in terms of villains, like the reason we really like villains is because they have some sort of tension, some sort of conflict, internal conflict. Like Thanos wants to save the world by destroying half of it, which is what the fuck are you? You know what I'm saying? But there's tension. It's tension in that. It's conflict in that, and the opposition of those intentions is what makes it dope. But with Palpatine always just wanted to get power, have power, a lot of motherfuckers. And I was also a little confused, to be honest with you, because I don't know what's canon and what's not canon. Like if you read all
it's hard. Yeah, it's so hard to distinguish between canon and the extended universe.
Yes, exactly. So like for a long time, the extended universe was canon, and now I'm not sure what in the extended universe is or is not.
Some aspects are, some aspects aren't. You just got to kind of check each one. That's just that's the Disney effect. Welcome to it.
Well, the most confusing part to me is that, from my understanding, the Sith have always been an order of two. An apprentice and a master, and that's it. But at the end of this movie, they're in this weird, they're in whatever.
It's this temple, basically.
Yeah, evil Dagobah.
And it's supposed to be the temple of a dark lord called Dark Lord Ren. So with that, obviously, it brings it all the way back to the beginning or whatever. So it's a big temple of all these things, and I think these are either other Sith loyalists or and such like that, supporters of it, or they could be, actual other, Sith, users and
Right.
Dark Force users similar to Palpatine. So I don't know.
Which I'm confused on either one. Like all of those options above confuse the fuck out of me. If they are actual other Sith if they're loyalists and they're just people who just loyal, what are they just
Right.
hanging out in the bottom of a pit?
It's a religion. It's a cult.
No, I get it. I get it.
Together for worship.
No, I get it. I get it. I get
It's
it.
supposed to be a ritual, I guess.
No, totally. But above the rituals, like mad spaceships and people dying. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you would think like it's a priority.
People dying and they having church.
You know what I'm saying? Like this, you would think they were like, one or the other we gonna do today. We gonna have church today. We gonna kill motherfuckers today. We gonna do one or the other. But like they having church. So if they the loyalists, I don't get why they out there not being loyal. You know what I'm saying? Like they just down there chilling. And then if they're other Sith people, like actual force wielders, force users and shit, I'm like, so you just gonna let your man just get fucked up like that? You're not even like nobody. It looked like it's millions of y'all, and not one of y'all. Not when y'all is going, you know what I'm saying?
They obviously are not concerned. I mean, they are the definition of unbothered. They are obviously unconcerned with the cataclysmic
Jesus, man. They don't give a fuck about the transfer of power. They care less about the transfer of power than Americans, man. They don't give a fuck about what's shared. But
they were unbothered.
Yeah, so okay, so that was confusing. I didn't quite understand that shit. And but okay, whatever. You know, maybe they're religious and they just crazy and that kind of shit. But then also, I guess my biggest complaint, God, I hate to be all complaints because it isn't all I didn't dislike the movie overall. I just felt like if I didn't love it, what a waste.
What the hell is the point?
Yeah,
right.
You know?
Totally agree.
Yeah,
she's spoken like a true person that came up on the original trilogy.
Yes, but one of the other main offenses to me was basically just like with the Force, man. Like either y'all got to decide this shit can do anything or this shit can only do three things. You know what I'm saying? Like I need either it can move shit, and then you can make people trick people with your mind. And you can feel where people are.
You can heal people now,
bruh. I'm like, what the fuck can't the Force? Okay, it's like, where are we going with it? Like, and that part I'm like cool with. But my thing is, if you're gonna go to the route where it can do anything, I'm like, well then let's do anything. I mean,
yeah, really pushed the and I don't think that JJ truly pushed the boundaries.
No.
And there were some moments that were cool, but the whole movie was crazy. Is the Force aspects was one of my things I actually liked about the movie. Like it really showed that there aren't any limits, but at the same time, I felt like I'm like you. I'm like, well, hell, if you can have him fly into the guy and stab him with a lightsaber,
bruh.
Well, you could have did that earlier in the movie.
Bruh, that's all I'm saying. Why do you save this move? Why is this the last move? Okay,
yeah.
well, if it makes sense to you, please explain this to me. All right, I just want to know this part. Why is it? How? I always thought the Force was this external power that they were channeling, right? And so basically, ultimately, it was the same power, just depending on what you want to do with it. But now all of a sudden, Force lightning is only some shit that Palpatines can do? I mean, you know what I mean?
You have certain powers or certain abilities, as they say, that Siths are able to do, and certain abilities that only Jedis can do. For instance, Siths cannot be a Sith ghost. There's no such thing as a Sith ghost. They've had different things that have popped up, but overall, they do not do that. When they're gone, they're gone. They can go into an object, but they can't come back and be a ghost. Whereas if you're a Jedi, you can actually be a ghost. In terms of the lightning, Force lightning is a Sith ability. That's the reason why. And basically, when Rey did that, obviously it was a big tip towards her lineage. But at the same time, it also kind of broke the rules of, only Jedis.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Whatever. But at the same time, they've also alluded that Rey is kind of gray. So it's just like, and that's where I say it's convoluted because it's like they say one thing, but then that happens, and then it doesn't make sense. Now, to be honest with you, I actually had no problem with Rey being a Palpatine. I actually thought it was kind of cool that they basically pitted the grandchildren of the two people that were going at it the most within the original saga, which was Darth Vader and Palpatine. So you've got the granddaughter of Palpatine, and that we just find out about, and then we've got the grandson of Darth Vader. I personally thought that was kind of cool. It also kind of explained why she was so naturally powerful and all of that too. I've actually thought that was all right. I actually like that aspect of the story. I wish they had given me more context around her parents and what happened and how it all kind of transpired, more so than a quick explanation. But I liked the concept behind it. I just felt as though it wasn't flushed out enough.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Structurally, I think structurally, if I were to rewrite the whole thing, yes, that's what I would have written it from the beginning, that it would have been this multi-generational struggle. But like we keep alluding to, the problem is that they didn't earn any of that.
No.
Like we don't know nearly as much about, the Palpatines, there was only one Palpatine. I don't even know what the dude's first name is. Do you know what I'm saying?
Sheev.
Right.
Sheev.
I mean, I do technically know, but no, his first name is Emperor. Emperor. You know what I'm saying? His name is Emperor Palpatine, you know?
Yeah.
And it was just, whereas on the Skywalker side, we know the in-laws, the outlaws, we know everything. And so it's just not balanced as a story, which is trying to balance light and dark.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It didn't come through to that. What it did, it's a disappointment. Because you can see, it's almost, but in a weird way, I almost feel like now I want to see a trilogy about Rey Skywalker unencumbered by her becoming a Jedi.
Right.
Like
now that you're there, okay, let's see what happens.
Like now, I feel like these last three movies, in a weird way, have just been three movies to get me interested enough to even find out what the fuck happens to Rey. Like now I want to know what happens. I didn't even give a fuck before.
And that's sad. And that means that they did not do their job. Because my thing is, the angle with her being a Palpatine, if they had, because within the first movie, The Force Awakens, they could have jumped off of that into The Last Jedi and set that up and then had this one kind of be the blockbuster go out. And it's disappointing. And I think the reason why people are in their feelings, especially true fans of it, is because the pieces were there. The story wasn't bad, but the execution was terrible.
Yeah,
it's like you had everything. It's like having, if you use a football, analogy or whatever, you had all the elite players and all the coaches and everything was there. All you had to do was just get somebody to put it all together and get everybody going, and you was going to get to the trip, to the championship. And it's disappointing that they dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Back to your Rey Skywalker thing, that's another thing I hate. I hate the fact that she just decided, you know what, I'm going to be a Skywalker. I hate that. I can't stand it. It's like, not only have you been a sanitized Mary Sue who had absolutely no consequence to anything that you're doing, who showed no vulnerability.
She didn't even lose a hand.
Yeah, nothing. Luke lost a hand. Anakin lost a hand. And he got sliced up. I mean, come on, man. It's just like, name anybody that has whooped Rey's ass.
Right. Or name somebody she's lost. Name someone of consequence that she lost. That's why the whole thing feels like a setup. I mean, and I'm not a dummy. I get it. This ain't the last movie with Rey Skywalker in it.
Right. Or the novels and the books and everything.
Yeah, but I mean specifically, this chick is young. She's super young still. They've already established that Mark Hamill could come back as a Force ghost. I mean, except for the numbers, except for the box office numbers, it's almost a fait accompli that you're going to see more properties with Rey Skywalker in it. Like,
they're just saying Rey Skywalker hurts my ears. I mean, because seriously, honestly, it's so insulting. It's insulting to the whole legacy in terms of that it's like, let me make sure I understand this. You started this whole thing off by saying that anyone could be special, anyone could inhabit these abilities, and you don't have to be a Skywalker or anybody to get them. And in the end, you made her a Skywalker.
Yeah, but you know what? That's kind of like, I feel like I know what you mean, but I feel like that's the same. If you're satisfied, if you're satisfied with the multidimensional conflict, then you got to be satisfied. Structurally speaking, they're counting on you to be satisfied with the same thing the same theme of family being what you choose rather than what you're born into. Like that at least is a theme that has been from day one in Star Wars, is that your friends are a bunch of ragtag outlaws, in a fucking souped up Cadillacs cruising through space trying to fight the Empire. And that part actually felt the truest to me. I agree with you in that I don't agree how we got there. I never felt like, of course it's a Disney movie, so I didn't expect like Rey and Kylo to be fucking, a bunch or anything like that. But it felt, the kiss at the end felt a little bit like
super awkward.
I'm like, all right, okay. I mean, then again, Star Wars was always kind of weird with that, with like who's attracted to who and who's with who, and that kind of thing. It's just, it was just weird. I just didn't feel like, I didn't buy any of the romance. I didn't even know until she kissed him that she was heterosexual. It didn't matter to me at that point.
That's what I'm saying. They didn't give us anything to be invested in with Rey. It's just like she came out the. I mean, let's be honest with you. Let's count it all the way back to Force Awakens. The first time she held a lightsaber, she whooped a pretty advanced level Jedi's ass.
Yes.
The first time she used the Force,
technically a Sith, but yes.
Right. The Skywalker's saber just falls into her hand the first time she decides to reach out and do something like that. Right. In the next movie, she's able to basically hold her own with the guards of Snoke. Not a problem at all. She's able to do what she's got to do. And in this third movie, she's just absolutely taking everybody out, including her grandfather, who is the Emperor. Come on.
Yes, son. Like exactly. No, you're 100% right. Like in her first movie after this trilogy, after this trilogy, when she's talking about, like, when everyone else was talking about how much they lost and everyone that is dead and everyone, what's her monologue? Like, what the fuck did she say? What did she say? I won every fight. I beat everybody the fuck up. I won, and then I killed the Emperor.
Hey, no, the deepest it goes.
Yay me!
I just want to know my place in this. I want to know my parents. I want to know, like, lady, we just lost like 80 people. People are having real rough times right now. The most you talking about is some parents that left your ass on Jakku. Man, serious. I've never been invested in Rey as a character. Others may be. I just feel as though I was, and this is honesty as well, I was really excited to see a different side of the whole, Jedi, kind of experience. Yes. It was going to be told from a perspective of a young lady. I thought that was going to be different and kind of cool, because for the most part, we've just seen that. I was like, okay, that's different. And then they told it from a perspective of kind of, no, she's not that. She's something different. I was like, cool. But to me, the way they have just treated it was just such a blown opportunity.
Bro, we didn't even know why.
To get more to know about that, how it's just blown up.
No, I feel like that was a big one. That I wanted to know more about the Jedi Order. I felt like, it was one of the central mysteries of the narrative. If you don't read the comic books or the books, you don't learn a ton about specifically the Jedi Order. You know what I mean? It's like the Bible and Jesus. Jesus says like 5 things, and then everyone has a whole religion based on that. But in the movies, is like hardly anything about the Jedi. All you do is see them doing using their sword and using powers, but you don't really get to see why the fuck they do that. Right. Why are they like that? And you think, well, okay, now that they've been destroyed, have to be rebuilt. You get this unique opportunity to see somebody coming into their own and coming into the Jedi principles from scratch. So you get to learn it all, but you don't. You just keep skipping. You just keep skipping all these steps and shit. Bring another thing I fucking hated before I switch gears. The whole Leia thing. Like in the last movie, when Leia saved herself from space with her force powers,
right?
I read that as, oh wow, untrained Leia has spontaneously accessed her force abilities and is doing her thing, right? And then in this one, all of a sudden I got this retcon that really she was training on Dagobah. She was like mad, like crazy deep in the force.
point up a second ago, that type of stuff with Leia being training with Luke and stuff, it's known to people who read the books and again, all that stuff. But if you're just a casual viewer of Star Wars, or just someone who's never read any of those Star Wars books, you would have no idea
Didn't explain that at all.
that she was doing all that. So they don't explain it. And I agree with you. You're 100% right. They missed so many different opportunities to put all these things that we've been reading about or heard about or that were rumored into the movie.
Yeah. I just realized
such an opportunity.
I just realized in that sort of neurotic tick the movie has of sort of explaining things from the last movie that nobody really gave a fuck about explaining. Like, I don't think anyone was dying to know how Leia used the Force to get back in the thing. We just accepted it as a mystery of the Force. That is the thing that they have. You know what? That's the central problem.
The mystique.
They have been steadily stripping the mystery away from the Force. Like, the reason the Force was so dope in the original movies is because you didn't know what it could do. When dude was like, doesn't matter how. When Yoda's teaching Luke how to lift the X-wing out of the fucking swamp, you're like, okay, I don't know, it's supposed to be hard? And fucking Yoda's like, it's not hard. Doesn't matter how big it is. You just go like this, blah, blah. But then later, in the later movies, when you see Force wielders using their power, it seems like they're straining sometimes. Or like, It's like, so what is it? Is this mysterious Force that can just like, when you in tune with that shit, that it's just working for you? Or is it this exertive process that, I mean, I don't know. The point is like, maybe both. The point is I never figured out. I never learned it. It never gets explained to me. But then when it does get explained to me, it gets over-explained to me as midi-chlorians, as fucking dyads of Force. But I'm like, what the fuck are these things?
Yeah.
Like, what do these things mean?
You know what's crazy to say? The person that got the closest to really bringing some sort of definition to the Force and some history around it was damn Rian Johnson in The Last Jedi. He actually, when Luke actually started to explain different things and they showed different pieces of when Kylo kind of turned on him when he thought he saw that stuff.
Yeah.
That was the first time where you said, oh, wow. Okay. We're actually looking at him looking to the mind and the body and spirit of Kylo and seeing that there's some conflict and talking to us about it, narrating what he's seeing.
That's right.
And then Kylo responding to that. And then in earlier aspects of that movie, Luke talking about the Force being more than lifting rocks and what it is and what she sees. That was the first time, like when Rey was in The Last Jedi and it showed the different things where he asked her, what did you see? And she said, light, darkness, light.
Yeah, they would get into the metaphysics of it. Yes.
Yeah, that was the first time. And it's like, I hate to give Rian Johnson any real credit because that movie pissed me off so much.
But at least it tried. It did try with the blue milk and all that shit. Yes.
So I'll give him his just due on that. Yes. He was the only one that was bold enough to actually do that. And I guess you could say there was a hint towards Palpatine in The Last Jedi because when she, got sucked into the whole dark side thing, Luke looked at her and said, you didn't even stop yourself. You went right to the dark side. That was probably a little.
That was the closest. Yeah. That's true. In piggybacking off that, like in sync with that, but I don't have much else to say about it. But the same thing. And then the lightsaber being yellow at the end, like I know that from the extended universe that some
colors do mean stuff.
That colors mean stuff with the sabers, but they didn't really explain that shit at all.
Why would they?
Mace Windu was one of the Jedi. I think he had a purple lightsaber.
He did.
Because it represented the red. For guys who don't know, for you nerds who aren't quite nerds yet, the red lightsabers are corrupted kyber crystals. All lightsabers are made out of kyber crystals, which are like these organic sentient stones that they channel the Force through. And when you're a light user, you channel the Force through this kyber stone, and it creates a blue lightsaber because it's nice and you're sweet and you're a good person, right? Or if you're a slightly more militant Jedi, it channels it as a green saber. And then if you're an evil motherfucker,
that's right,
then it becomes red. But the idea of the Sith is that a Sith only takes a lightsaber from a Jedi. They kill a Jedi, take their lightsaber, and then corrupt the sentient kyber crystal into a twisted version of itself, and then it becomes red because it's tortured and bleeding and literally bleeding.
They have to do it. They have to go through a ritual of making it bleed.
Yes.
I love the Sith. They're great.
So Mace Windu is one of the special Jedi who, even though he's a good guy, he employs elements of the dark side or has access to those aggressive force abilities. So his saber is purple. Okay. That being said, the end of Rise of Skywalker, her shit is yellow. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on here, man?
Only Nyaze would say all of that. Just to say, and hers is yellow. What's that on?
What's that on? I mean, you know, just, you have a perfectly workable fucking system. I just like, which is it? Is it nothing? Or is it something? I just don't. It's frustrating.
It's the Disney way. They have to sell it. They have to leave all these different gaps in the movie, so then they can charge you some money for the novels and the spinoffs and everything as well. It's genius on their part, but infuriating if you're a damn fan. It's annoying.
Yellow saber.
Like they'll have all the. Just tell us what the hell the damn saber means. Like right then and there, she could have been like, this yellow saber references A, B, C, and D. Hell, that's what you did throughout the whole movie. You just came into the movie, just having the characters break down the plot. I came back. You threw me down the wrecker shaft, but I'm back again.
I peeped that. I like how, you're right. They did. I like how they try to play this trick where if 15 different people say a paragraph, that means it's not exposition. No, motherfucker. This is all the past. I know what y'all are doing. And then you said such and such and such. I did say that. And then in addition.
I did say that. That's right. And I did say I was going to take you there. Here's the dagger. I'm just like, come on, man. Was this like the easiest scavenger hunt ever? They go up they find Lando Calrissian, and he goes, hey, listen, you know, I'm trying to find a way to get to this place. Hey, listen, the ship's out there in the desert. Yeah, what you need is right in there. Yeah, it's just a couple miles away. Go get it. Now, this ship's been sitting there for like years and years, but it just so happens to be just sitting there, pristine condition, waiting for Rey and her friends to come along.
Fucking
and then
ridiculous.
The Wayfinder just happens to be there untouched. No one else thought of the Wayfinder over 10 years. It's just all so simple. And on the Sith dagger.
That's right.
Oh my God. If you the map.
If you just line it up like this,
that's all you gotta do. It's gotta be
okay. I don't want to go too deep into that stupid ass dagger thing. But the problem with that dagger is, depending on where you standing at, that ain't never gonna match up. It could be completely correct, but how do you know how far away do you know to stand?
Star Wars turned into like a Hardy Boy mystery type
I was
situation real fast.
Get this Goonies shit.
We really turned Star Wars into a scavenger hunt murder mystery?
Fucking Goonies shit. Dude, it was the Goonies, bro. I was like, this shit is fucking out of control, man.
Star Wars adventures.
All right, so that's it. That's all it is. Okay, and also I hated the way they used Leia because that woman is dead, and I
very, very.
I did not like. Every time she showed up, I was like, "This is wrong. This is like on a very palpable, like on some Jesus church boy. That's some devil shit kind of stuff jumping out. I was just like, that's not right. Like that's, like the future where they could just take dead people's faces and just make whole ass movies without when you dead and you can't say shit about it. That's just a story with your face on it now. I'm like, I don't like none of this.
It's out of there.
I don't like none of that. Man. I didn't like none of that.
Footage of you and I are going to create an epic saga.
No, fuck that. You got to do what every other movie in the 80s and 90s did. You write that shit. You write yourself out of it. That shit opens up with Leia is dead. Episode 9. Leia is dead.
Well, apparently dead means nothing because it means the thing in the damn crawl that says the dead speak. So
oh my God.
Obviously being dead doesn't really matter.
Doesn't mean shit
right now. And I also thought that, and this is my last two things on it right here, I thought the re-entrance of Palpatine, like I said, I feel like it was just criminal how they did Palpatine. The re-entrance of Palpatine was extremely flimsy. It's just like all of a sudden he just sends out basically a FaceTime message to all of the universe and says, "Hey man, I'm back. I'm gonna reclaim everything that I had before. I've got guns. I've got all kinds of weapons that can blow shit up. So I just want to put you on notice because I coming back as a surprise was
That's
I don't
real.
want to do that anymore.
That's
I
real.
want you to know that I'm coming back. So take this FaceTime very
Yes.
seriously.
Yes. Why?
Thank you.
Yes. Yes. Galactic FaceTime. Why in the name? Why in the name of Darth Jesus did these motherfuckers? Yes. No, you're absolutely right. What did we even have the first 8 movies for? Like,
He just showed the head up.
if this motherfuckers just had a planet with all the spaceships on it and all of them got star killers, all of them got fucking Death
They
Stars.
all have Death Star rays on them. Yeah,
What? I mean,
that's the point.
really, this should have been the only thing Palpatine did wrong was just he should have chilled. He should have chilled. He should have chilled from movie 1 to 8. And then in 9 been like, see, y'all niggas didn't even know what was happening. You didn't even know I was coming. Now I'm everywhere.
He had death machines by the thousands based upon what you saw, or at minimum by the hundreds. And all he had to do was just show up, blow up 2 or 3 of them, and then go, all right, look, this is how this is going to go down. But no, he wants you to know ahead of time that he
the
was
whole
coming,
galaxy,
and that he needed the whole galaxy to know that he was back.
Why?
And that he was going to be performing all of his old hits.
Right.
And
so when the Avengers, right. So when the Avengers show up at the end and all the portals open and everybody shows up in the sky, I see you, Disney. I see you. All right.
Yes. The same script. Yeah. Except the fight on the end of this one wasn't as epic as the end game.
Not at all. You do have to just basically be like, well, Palpatine just lost that. He lost that for himself. He snatched defeat out of the jaws of victory. He gave it up himself. He had the life force stolen. He had all the shit in his corner, and he fumbled the ball at the end.
He could not get it done.
It was very sad.
And now it's supposed to be over. But overall, I did not like.
I did not like the movie. I did not like the story. But I will say this, and I do want to end on a good note. I did weep 5 times. There were moments of genuine emotion. I wept when Han Solo forgave Ben.
Yeah, that was cool.
Right?
Harrison Ford, he actually added some class back to it.
Harrison Ford is a fucking
respect.
Yes. Harrison Ford is a fucking gem. I wish I'd have had more of him instead of Billy D.
Yes, Lord.
I wanted to like Billy D, but I was like, oh my fucking God. This
Billy D was a pointless character in this movie. I love Lando. I love Billy D. I have drunk Colt
pointless fan service.
I was a fan back in the day, but I just am not. I love Lady Sings the Blues, Bingo Long, all these things.
Couldn't act his way out of a paper bag.
But his hair used to look great.
But it happened. So he's there and he's doing the fucking Kessel Run, whatever. What else? There were a couple of moments with Finn that were very moving and effective for me. Even though normally he gets on my nerves. But no, basically the emotional center of actually I'm gonna take all that back. The emotional center for me was Harrison Ford and Kylo Ren. That twist, his redemptive arc his redemptive arc, the only earned shit in the whole fucking trilogy where I felt like, yeah, yes.
Totally agree. Kylo, I had zero issue with throughout the whole saga.
He
did his job 100% of the way. Everybody else just got on my nerves. But I agree. They did right by that. And my last thing on this as well is that they alluded to and pretty much said that now that Rey is the chosen one. I disagree with them. Harrison Ford, the creator of the franchise, has said it is today, and it will always be that Anakin is the chosen one. That line in the movie where Anakin says to her, balance the force like I did, is highly disrespectful. And if you noticed it, there was also, I should say, word on the street that there is also a scene in which there was a lightsaber battle in which Anakin was a part of that. So they cut that out because they wanted to give, more screen time to the emerging characters like Rey. And as you can see, that was a great choice to make because it made the film Anakin?
Wait, Anakin?
He was supposed to be. Yeah, he was there as a Force ghost when they were talking to him.
Oh,
But he
oh,
was supposed to actually show up in the final battle. But Disney decided to cut
oh.
that out because that would have actually been epic.
That would, bruh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The fact that they cut out the lightsaber duel with Palpatine and Anakin and all of that, I'm just like, to me, I envisioned an ending similar to Endgame. I thought you were going to be able to see all of the actual past Jedi ghosts, and they were going to have their lightsabers out. I thought you were going to see all of the Sith, like Darth Maul and all these other people like that, and they were going to have their sabers. And I thought it was
Oh,
going to
that'd
be
have
a
been
big
fucking. That'd have been
Endgame
lit.
battle royal. And then I thought in the end, Anakin was going to take out him, and then Rey was going to be there, and we were all going to move on with life.
Mm.
But that's just not the ending that we got. Rey is not the chosen one. Not my Skywalker. Damn it.
Not my Skywalker.
I'm going
Well, I am
political
not a
right
never. I am not a never Rayer. I'm fine with her being an adopted member of the Skywalker clan since they're all dead now.
now. I
Since they're all literally dead now anyway.
I
Somebody
know. It's just like
somebody
you've
should
already robbed them of their franchise. Now you're robbing them of their name. Shame on you, Disney. Shame.
somebody should own it. I mean, fuck, they might come out with another movie and come down the line. You'll find out that the Skywalkers and the Palpatines are actually one big family. I'm sure that's next. I'm 1,000% sure that somewhere in the books or in some canon that is a fact that Palpatine was actually a Skywalker.
Well, actually, Palpatine is the one that started this whole mess because, per the Darth Vader comic that came out earlier
Great comic.
this year,
Great comic.
yeah, Palpatine actually created Anakin and put him in the using the Force, manipulating the midichlorians and put him into the stomach of Shmi. So if you want to get all super connecty everything togethery,
I still
he's
reject the midichlorians.
I reject Rey being a Skywalker. So
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with.
You know
I'm
what?
fine with that. I'm fine with Rey not being a Skywalker as long as we don't have to deal with midichlorians. And I'm glad they didn't bring them up in the movies. Thank God, because they're just ridiculous.
We have reached a certain nerd level of consensus, and I think we're good to go.
Yep.
I
All right.
think both of us feel like this movie wasn't that great. It was extremely underwhelming, but as Star Wars fans, we did appreciate the fan service. Try again, tip your waitress.
That's right. I'm gonna give it a C, straight C.
I think I would give it a D plus.
Yep, that's fair. That is fair.
Yeah,
that's
we're
fair.
close, sir. We're
That's
close.
fair. That's fair.
There you go, man.
All
That
right,
was
guys.
our
Thank you.
Skywalker review, man, right there. Hopefully y'all enjoyed all that good stuff. Bro, tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, guys. Continue to stream my music when and where you can. Spotify and all the places. Nyaze, Vincent, Nyaze. Listen to my music. It's great. It's fun. I make it a lot. And
Totally agree.
also, my wife and podcasting partner, Melissa, did confirm for me that we are actually going to do a new episode over the break while she is not working and I am not working and everyone's not working. So, yay! So tune in very shortly.
That's a good time to have Al on the show.
That is a great time. We're gonna try. We should try to do a couple of them actually with you and maybe a few
I'm
people.
lining up, Shanda. We about to get that popping here in just a second.
Wonderful.
Yeah, yes,
Wonderful.
sir. Let's work.
So that's what I'm doing. Yeah. What's up with you, bro?
That's what's going on. Oh man, you can catch me, in terms of on my Instagram, Algernon's October. I'm gonna be posting some cool stuff. I got an interview with Jacob Lattimore that's gonna be coming out in January. He's got a new movie he's doing with Tiffany Haddish. I had a chance to talk with him. I've got a cool article that's gonna be coming out. It's called Connecting with Jacob. That's coming out real soon. I got some other stuff I'm running down. I think I set up something with Rhapsody here in March.
Nice.
That's gonna be kind of cool. And we're just gonna keep it moving. Oh, and the Morning Hustle with Head Cracks coming out January 6th. Trish and I are gonna be there for the debut of that cool new show that's coming out. So continue supporting our podcast. Check us out on Spotify. First and foremost, man, we're getting our Spotify up in the new year. Come check us out on that. We're going to post a link to that, but also everywhere else you can hear, podcasts, iHeartRadio, iTunes, all that stuff. Check us out, subscribe, review, leave us some stuff, all of that. Check us out on Twitter, our Facebook. We're going to post this particular review out on YouTube so we can get those clicks. YouTube family, what's going on? Introduce me and my brother Nyaze, Vincent. We talk life, we talk music, and we talk culture, and we do it often. 2020 is coming. We're going to get better. Let's get it.
Woo! All right, y'all. One.
Peace. Star Wars.
All right, live video.